The Knicks not re-signing Immanuel Quickley to a contract extension this offseason could come back to haunt them. And according to one NBA insider, it may already have begun. Because two NBA teams in the San Antonio Spurs and the Orlando Magic are reportedly interested in adding Immanuel Quickley. Not only that, we're learning more details about the Knicks and Immanuel Quickley and that contract extension, because apparently it was reported recently that the Knicks didn't even offer Immanuel Quickley a guaranteed contract. We're going to break down the report on all of these things and so much more today. So be sure you're subscribed to the channel and have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. The Spurs and the Magic could be interested in Immanuel Quickley. Now, this is not a surprise to me at all, because when the Knicks decided to not extend Immanuel Quickley this past offseason, we knew reports like this were going to happen. And look at this, not even a quarter way into the season, and we already have teams like the Orlando Magic and the San Antonio Spurs being linked to Immanuel Quickley, potentially looking to add him. We're going to look into the report exactly from theheavy.com via Sean Daverney. Here's exactly what one NBA executive said about Immanuel Quickley and the New York Knicks situation right now. According to one Eastern Conference executive that spoke to theheavysports.com, the trend is to play hardball with restricted free agency, but it could be a mistake, the Knicks playing hardball with him being Immanuel Quickley. Two reasons for that, really. The Spurs and the Magic. They need a young point guard, and they are both in a good spot to swipe him. TheHeavy.com continues by stating, both the Magic and the Spurs could have more than $50 million to spend next summer. Many thought the Magic would seek to make an investment in a young veteran last summer, but Orlando stuck with building out its core. At 14-7 though, the Magic are ready to take a step forward in their rebuilding. And with uncertainty at the point guard spot, Quickley would be a good fit there. Shout out to Sean Daverney from TheHeavy.com for giving us this massive update about Immanuel Quickley. So the Spurs and the Magic, who both absolutely could use an upgrade at point guard, given where the Orlando Magic are right now, given how good they look, and given the steps they have taken, imagine if they add a player like Immanuel Quickley, who right now you can make the argument looks like the sixth man of the year. If the Magic could add a player like that to the caliber of Immanuel Quickley, the way he can play off of screens, his pick and roll game, his defense, the way he can steal the ball, get offenses working, and the fact that he can be a starter or come off your bench, the amount of power the Orlando Magic could have in the Eastern Conference by adding a player to Immanuel Quickley's caliber would be undeniably an impactful move for that franchise, because Immanuel Quickley could start for them, he could come off the bench for them, and he could give them impact right away. That is what Immanuel Quickley has been for the New York Knicks. Instant offense, and he could be that as well for the Orlando Magic. And with the San Antonio Spurs, they're currently playing a power forward, Jeremy Sohan, at point guard. They are absolutely desperately looking for an upgrade at the point guard position. And Immanuel Quickley, if he was traded to that team, would absolutely do that for them. He would give them a starting caliber point guard immediately, right away. And him and Victor together would absolutely be box office, would be much watched, because it's not even about Immanuel Quickley. It's more so seeing an actual point guard, a proper point guard, being able to play with the likes of Victor Wembanyama. Could you imagine what Wemby and what Immanuel Quickley could do? Quickley's floater would either be a pass or it would actually be a floater, because if he threw it up high enough, it would be a pass for Victor. Or we could see Immanuel Quickley do that floater that we've seen him do time and time again for the New York Knicks, but this time do it with the San Antonio Spurs. Don't get it twisted here, folks. The Spurs absolutely need a point guard. If Quickley was added to that team, I think Pop would start him, because that's the type of player Immanuel Quickley is. He does deserve to start. He could start for a number of teams right now. And if added to the Spurs, him and Victor would be something to witness. Mark my words on that. Whether or not the Orlando Magic or the San Antonio Spurs add Immanuel Quickley this offseason, or another mystery team perhaps comes in to try to add Immanuel Quickley, Or maybe the New York Knicks themselves say, you know what? We see what he can do. We've seen his play. I want to add Immanuel Quickley again to this roster. I want to resign him to another contract. Even if the Knicks look to do that, one thing this report tells us more than anything else is that there is interest in Immanuel Quickley without a doubt. So since that's the case, the Knicks are under pressure now to make sure they either pay Immanuel Quickley, trade Immanuel Quickley, or make sure they get something significant for him. Because if they let him walk in restricted free agency for nothing, it is going to look like one of the biggest mistakes the New York Knicks have done in the past few years. And it's definitely going to look like a loss on the resume for Leon Rose as Knicks president. That is without a doubt. You cannot let Immanuel Quickley, a player of his caliber, walk in free agency for nothing. I hope the Knicks have a plan here, because if they don't, teams like the Spurs, teams like the Orlando Magic are waiting in the wings, looking to add Quickley to their roster. According to an NBA insider, the Knicks never offered Immanuel Quickley a guaranteed deal. It seems like each and every week that goes by, we learn more and more details about Immanuel Quickley and the New York Knicks contract negotiations from this past offseason. At one point, we heard that Immanuel Quickley wanted $25 million. Then, as of recently, a report came out suggesting that Immanuel Quickley never even asked for $25 million. And then there was another report suggesting that Immanuel Quickley would only accept the floor. The least amount would be $18 million. Then another report came out suggesting that the Knicks didn't even have talks going up to that point. And now we have another report coming out from SNY's Ian Begley suggesting that the Knicks never even offered Immanuel Quickley a guaranteed contract in the first place. Let's look into this report. Per Ian Begley of SNY, there was a report that stated Immanuel Quickley was looking for an extension worth $25 million per season. For what it's worth, there was never any demand made in negotiations to reach a certain number. The Knicks and Quickley side never got over the hurdle of the structure of a potential deal. One offer made to Quickley was not fully guaranteed, giving the Knicks a team option in the contract. There were no incentives included in the talks. Quickley, of course, will be a restricted free agent in the 2024 offseason. At that point, the Knicks will be able to match any offer sheet Quickley signs with another team. The fact that Ian Begley reported that the New York Knicks wanted to work in or bake in a team option for that final year for Immanuel Quickley's contract makes me believe this report even more. But honestly, if I was Immanuel Quickley, I wouldn't have taken this offer as well too. If anything, I might have felt a little bit disrespected. After everything Immanuel Quickley did last season, even though he didn't show up in the playoffs, he was a sensational player for the Knicks. He was one of the main reasons the Knicks got to the playoffs in the first place. And after all of that, even after coming up as runner-up for Sixth Man of the Year, they don't even give Immanuel Quickley a guaranteed deal. They give him a partially guaranteed deal. That's what Immanuel Quickley did. That's all the work Immanuel Quickley put in for the New York Knicks last year. To get a deal with no incentives and not even a full guarantee, just a partial guarantee. For Immanuel Quickley, somebody who was runner-up for Sixth Man of the Year, who was giving you sensational stats, sensational defense, Immanuel Quickley as a player took a leap, took a step last season, and he's trying to do the same thing this season. For a player like that, you can't even give him a guaranteed offer? I don't know about you guys. Maybe I'm making too big of a deal of it. But that seems like it's a big deal. Because if you don't do that for a player like Immanuel Quickley, why would I accept the deal? And it sounds like per SNY's Ian Begley that because of the structure of the deal, they didn't even get off the table in terms of asking for a number. So they didn't even get the chance to ask for a certain number, a certain amount that Immanuel Quickley would want, because they couldn't even jump over the hurdle of the contract. No guarantee, no incentives. Why would anybody sign that? Would you sign that? Ask yourself. Look at the production that Immanuel Quickley gave the Knicks last season. They didn't give him any of those two things. Would you accept the deal? Would you be okay with the deal? I would think you wouldn't be, but given this report here from Ian Begley, it is absolutely crystal clear that the New York Knicks and Immanuel Quickley had an issue, and the main issue had nothing to do with a final number and had everything to do with the structure of the deal, incentives, non-guarantees. Those were all parts of the reasons why Immanuel Quickley and his camp chose not to sign an extension with the New York Knicks. And honestly, if all of this is true, I don't blame him. While the Knicks can match any offer Immanuel Quickley receives, they have to have a certain number in their head that they're only willing to pay Immanuel Quickley. And if another team comes in, like the Spurs, like the Magic, and in my opinion, a dark horse for Immanuel Quickley, like the Toronto Raptors, who also desperately need a point guard, if one of those teams come in and give IQ a very good offer with incentives and guarantees, but also lets him know, you know what, you come to my roster, you're going to get more opportunity, and you might even start. I think if a team promises Immanuel Quickley that, then the New York Knicks will not be able to match it no matter what, and IQ will be gone. So the Knicks are going to have to make a key decision on Immanuel Quickley, his contract, and more importantly, his role moving forward on this team. What we can say right now is that Immanuel Quickley is a key piece for this New York Knicks team. He potentially could move on to another team this offseason, but we're not there yet. And we have no idea what his performance is going to be till we get there. And if it's a very good performance, the Knicks may match any offer given to Immanuel Quickley. We have to just wait and see what happens. But as of right now, we have more details on Immanuel Quickley and that contract negotiation with the Knicks. And apparently, the Knicks never even offered him any incentives or a guarantee. What do you guys think about this whole Immanuel Quickley situation? What do you think about the Spurs and potentially the Magic going after IQ this offseason? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below, and of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans. Peace.